morning and welcome back. Today is day 274 of our 365 days of Bible study. We are coming to the end of our study of the parables of Jesus on days 249 to 274, and today we finish that section with the parable of the talents. This is from Matthew chapter 25, verses 14 to 30. On the Mount of Olives, Jesus continued speaking privately to the disciples. What will it be like? It's going to be like a man setting off on a journey. He called a meeting of his workers and trusted them with looking after his business. One he trusted with 5 talents, another 2, and another 1, each according to his ability. Then he set off. Right away, the one who was given 5 went and traded with them. He made a profit of 5 talents. It was the same with the one given 2 talents. He made 2 more. But the one given a single talent dug a hole in the ground and hid his boss's money in it. It took a long time before the boss came and settled accounts with them. The one who had been given 5 talents came over, and he brought his profits with him. He said, "Sir, you gave me 5 talents. Here I've got the 5 more that I made." His boss said, "Well done. You have been good and loyal to me. You have shown your trustworthiness in small matters. I will give you great responsibility. Come and share my happiness." Then the one trusted with 2 talents came over. He said, "Sir, you gave me 2 talents. Here I've got the 2 more that I made." His boss said, "Well done. You have been good and loyal to me. You have shown your trustworthiness in small matters. I will give you greater responsibility. Come and share my happiness." Then the one who had been given just 1 talent came over, and he said, "Sir, I knew you were a tough man. You reap where you didn't plant and gather where you didn't scatter. I was so scared of you that I went and hid your talent in a hole in the ground. I brought it back to you." His boss answered him, "You are so wicked and lazy. So you knew that I reap where I don't plant and gather where I don't scatter. At least you could have put my money on deposit at the bank, and I would have got the interest on my return. Oh, take the money from him and give it to the one who has one with the 10. For to everyone who has more will be given, and generously. But from those who have nothing, even that will be taken from them." And he continued, "Throw this worthless person out into the dark, where you can hear people's wailing and distress." So today we return to the parable we looked at back on day 270, which was Luke's quite different version of the same story. Today, to round off our studies of parables, we see Matthew's version and hear his message. I explained a few days ago why I believe Matthew's version of the story to be closer to Jesus' original than Luke's is. A talent is worth about £2,000. This trader was entrusting a hefty amount of his business, some £30,000 worth, into the hands of what were essentially slaves. On the face of it, this boss is giving his workers an exam or a test. 2 passed and 1 failed. We must resist the easy temptation to interpret this parable in an anti-Christian way. We know that Jesus came to call not the righteous, but sinners. He came to save outcasts. He wanted the scribes and Pharisees again and again. He warned those scribes and Pharisees again and again that losers, like the tax collectors and the prostitutes, would go marching into the kingdom ahead of the righteous such as themselves. So how are we going to understand this tricky allegory? Well, not that Jesus is about to leave the world to come back sometime in the future and test us to see how we've managed without him and awarding passes or fails. Not that. We should read it this way. The Pharisees and their like are represented by the worthless worker who thinks his boss, representing God, is a tough guy who can take what he wants with impunity. Even the one talent given to him is worth a fortune. It represents the law of Moses, the cult of temple worship, the promises of the prophets, and all the rest of the riches of their faith and culture. And what had they done with all those riches? Well, they had not shared them with the world, but had dug a hole and hidden it all away. Looking back, Matthew knew that the temple had been destroyed in the Roman punitive action of 70 AD, and that the Pharisees and their like had been expelled from Jerusalem to become part of the Jewish diaspora in the Middle East and the Eastern Roman Empire for the foreseeable future, where there would indeed be wailing and gnashing of teeth for them. What of the two good and faithful servants who had taken their share out into the world and had multiplied the riches given to them? Surely they are the early Christians who set off with their riches and garnered a great profit for God in terms of continued growth, both in numbers and in understanding. We present-day Christians are here in this allegory too, because we are part of the profit they earned for God. And we too should use our time and talents in a profitable way. But beware, we might also see ourselves in the role of the complacent believer who hid his treasure, for surely we are quite capable of being like that ourselves. The faith only works if it is moving outwards and being shared in some way in the service of the wider world. Well, tomorrow we move away from the teaching ministry of Jesus to look at the narrative. First, we will look at what the first three Gospels have in common by looking at what Matthew and Luke copied from the first Gospel to be written, that of Mark. We'll begin that tomorrow, and I'll see you then.